Chancellor Mullen, members of the Board of Regents, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, students, friends of the university, members of the class of 2001, parents and loved ones. This is, from this point of view, a beautiful sight. The most magnificent umbrellas I think I've ever seen. And I hope that you are comfortable under them. Despite the fact that some of the more cynical or less sentimental among us are inclined to denigrate commencement exercises, I, for one, regard them as not only significant, but downright exciting. Anyone who has attended as many commencements as I have must have made peace with them in one way or another. I have made peace with them by falling in love with them. We have before us these graduates who have devoted years of arduous work in their courses of study, and the completion of their task is symbolized by the ritual of this commencement. Here are these relatives and friends who've given so much of themselves as a token of their esteem and confidence. And this commencement is quite special to them, for no one has more right than they do to have a sense of pride and joy. And here also are the officers and instructional staff of this great university who season out and season in, day in and day out, they've worked so hard and done so much to make this a great educational experience for all of us. And finally, here are the friends and supporters of this University of North Carolina at Asheville, who through their generous support have done so much to transform this place into a truly important center of learning. Each and every one of us, and each and every one of these groups is excited, and justly so. And each of them deserves a brace of congratulations for us all. This ritual of commencement is important and very special for yet another reason. It is one more manifestation of our faith in the continuing importance of the entire educational enterprise. The history of higher education in North Carolina and across the nation is itself an expression of faith in the value of education and indeed of its importance to all peoples regardless of color or other irrelevant circumstances. It is also a good thing that we pause from time to time and recognize the role of education and indeed of public institutions like this one in the building and strengthening of this community and other communities as well. Despite what this institution attempts to do to assist in the improvement of, say, our educational and our secondary and elementary, many of our school districts are little principalities walled off from each other with no opportunity to share or pool resources such as personnel and facilities. They seem particularly hostile to students of a different class or a different race or a different ethnic group. In the name of the high principle of decentralization and neighborhood schools, every move to break down the barriers or establish programs of cooperation is met with studied, vehement opposition. Consequently, the few schools that are good remain good, if somewhat isolated and sterile, while the many that are poor remain poor. So let us pledge anew our wits as well as our resources them on their way to college. They will not find the going quite so difficult. Even with the bond issue that was successful when it was presented to the people of this state a few months ago, we cannot afford to sit back and relax as though we have won the ultimate victory. College facilities are still inadequate. College salaries are woefully inadequate. Many classrooms are overcrowded, and equipment in our laboratories is far from being a state of the art. Yet, listen to our political leaders who feel that their real value as statesmen is how eloquently and in how many ways he or she can oppose increased revenue for our educational and other social purposes. Many of you who graduate today have had to pay dearly for your education. You have learned the value of an education, and you have reached definite conclusions about the importance of adequate and sound educational opportunities at every level. As you take stock of your educational experience, I hope that you will begin from this day forward to define your own role in continuing the task of improving our educational system so that your own children and their children who follow will not face the dilemmas and the difficulties that this generation has experienced. It is equally important that you make certain that excellent educational opportunities are equalized not merely in terms of personnel and facilities, but also in terms of opportunities to learn about the social environment in which you and yours will live and work. It is as important to have excellent schools in the most advantaged areas of Asheville as it is to have them in the areas of privilege. It is surely as important for the people who will inhabit such communities in the future to know that they were neither poor nor rich by divine right, and that the barriers of race, religion, and wealth are artificial and inconsequential as far as the true evaluation of a human being is concerned. I very much hope that every member of this graduating class will take time, regardless of how preoccupied you are with your own affairs, to become involved in the educational enterprise wherever you live. Much of the future of the next generation, indeed much of the future of our country, depends on what you do about education. We've heard a great deal, perhaps enough, about accountability and about testing, and not nearly enough about caring and mentoring and about content that we teach every day. I invite each and every one of you to join in the very important task of educating our youth. There are all kinds of ways in which you can do this. You can help choose members of your school board who are imaginative, creative, and innovative in their vision of an educational system that places faith in our young people, but it also is willing to take these young people by the hand and help them navigate through the difficult shoals of an educational system. And you can do even more. If you do not choose a career in teaching, and I hope that many of you will, you can still volunteer to help at the school near you. You can help in after-school activities and in the mentoring program. I have never heard of an oversupply of mentors or teachers' aides, and the satisfaction you will derive will be much more than you could expect. Permit me to give you an example from my own personal experience of this kind of volunteer mentoring. It happened many, many years ago when I was 20 years of old. That's 20 years of age. That's the redundancy, isn't it? It happened many, many years ago. And I was 20 years old. I was in my first month of graduate study at Harvard University. I was living in a rooming house where several other students lived. But there was also a middle-aged man whom I'd seen but had not met. And late afternoon, in my first month there was a light rap on my door. When I opened it, the older man was standing there with a piece of paper in his hand. I invited him to come in, and he quickly came in the door, and I asked what was the point of his, and he quickly told me what the point of his visit was. He said that he'd received a letter that day, and some of the words were written in a way that made it difficult or unclear for him to understand, and he wondered if I could help him decipher these words. The moment I saw the letter, I reached two conclusions. The first conclusion was that the man could not read because the words were as clear as they could be. The second was that the person, conjecturally, the person who usually read his letters to him was unavailable, and he wanted someone to read the letter to him. So I simulated a kind of difficulty in deciphering or reading it, just to make him comfortable. And when I finished reading the letter, and after the exchange of a few more words, I suggested to him that perhaps with my help he might drop by in the afternoon, and perhaps we could read his letters together. Indeed, we could brush up on his reading in general. He protested that I would not have the time. I told him that I would take the time. And despite the fact I had a full program of graduate classes and was washing dishes at a club for my evening meal and was typing term papers and dissertations to make ends meet, I was eager to teach that man to read. And so in the next 9 months, each weekday evening, the man came to my room and he entered enthusiastically into the enterprise of learning to read, as I entered enthusiastically in the enterprise of learning how to teach him how to read. And at the end of 9 months, he could read simple sentences, especially ones that he was likely to receive in his letters. And at the end of the period, he took great pride in reading his letters to me. And at the end of that period, I did not know it then, but I can now say that in more than 55 years of teaching after I left graduate school, and after thousands of students, including 32 of my own PhDs, I would never again experience the satisfaction and the thrill of teaching as I did in teaching that man how to read. So you who graduate today have enjoyed a rare privilege in achieving your own educational goals at UNC Asheville. It is a privilege which carries with it an awesome responsibility, that of doing everything you can from this day forward to create a community and a world worthy of your children and of their children. And if you do, they will be ever grateful, and we will give you the praise that you so richly deserve. And so, my fellow classmates, it has been a high honor and a great privilege for me to be with you today and to participate in this ceremony. May you become activists in the promotion of the highest ideals of learning and service at the University of North Carolina at Asheville. And may your days ahead be filled with the light by which truth is revealed. And may you take with you those ideals as you assume your respective roles in life as you go down from this place. Congratulations, best wishes, and Godspeed. Thank you.